Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the energies behind the Los Angeles fires and how we can help to contribute in a positive way. Energies when handling a crisis. So how do we balance energies? I think it was the gene key diplomacy. I'm not too sure, but there was a gene key where it basically says, when one person goes extra in anxiousness, the other one should tone it down a little so that we can balance out the energy and the situation. So same thing in this situation. We have a crisis going on. It's devastating. I drove around personally yesterday and I saw so much smoke coming out of the air. So as you can see, it's not over yet. The people within the city was devastated. I was talking to a few people. I went to a couple of stores, a few restaurants, and I saw that the people, while working, were in full devastation. It reminded me of 9/11. I remember I was working at Blockbuster at that time, and everybody was watching on TV as it was happening. So you're pretty much seeing the whole thing go down, and you feel hopeless, helpless. There's nothing you can do but to watch it burn down and see people getting affected. So as you can see, global frequency right now is low. We are currently under devastation and frustration. So if you look at the frequency chart, this is a good chart for us to base ourselves upon. So right now we're between the frequencies of 100 and 150. I decided to make a video to help out a little in balancing the energies. So right now we're between 100 and 150, as you can see on the chart. Just like in current successful couplings, like I've seen from all the successful couples that when there's one that's super hyperactive, the other one tends to be more mellow. And it doesn't matter if it's the girl or the guy, it doesn't matter, whichever. If it's the girl that's super active, the guy tends to be more mellow. If the guy's super active, the girl tends to be more mellow. Like I've never seen a successful couple. I'm not talking about just picture image successful. I'm talking about like hardcore. They've been together for 30 years through thick and thin, through all types of disasters, and they made it. Those couples, from what I've seen, that's how they are. There's an anxious one or like one that's more vibrating with energy, and the other one that's more calm in its vibration. Always balancing each other out no matter what happens in the situation. So the same thing. Hopeless, devastation. And the people watching, if we're also in the frustration, fear, devastation, vibration, we're actually adding on to the global frequency. So this is why it's important to base basically ourselves from the chart, look at the chart and be like, where do I want to be in this chart so that I can help contribute in a positive way instead of adding to the low frequency. And this is just a learning curve. Like I remember whenever there was a war, I would get frustrated and express my frustration. However, when that happens, there's, it's not part of the solution. It's just adding to the anger that already exists. So it's very human. We're evolving as things are happening and we're uncovering it. And at the same time, we're evolving as we're learning. So I came about this frequency chart within the last 5 years. I didn't even know it existed. So great chart to base yourself upon to see how we can contribute in a positive way together. Okay, so our target frequency, as you can see, is pride and above. So we want to increase, right, the average. So as long as we are above the median, which is right now 150. So let's say between 100 and 150. So you want to be 175 and above. So as you can see, the highest frequency in this case is the frequency of enlightenment. So I'm not going to include enlightenment in it because, people that are enlightened are adding to the collective. I'm going to talk about the frequencies where we can actually do something about. So that means pride all the way to love. Because joy and peace, you kind of already have to be in that frequency to contribute because nobody from the sideline is watching this situation happen and is in joy or is in complete peace. Not as human beings. Again, if you're a yogi, you can send peace and you can remain joyful, absolutely. But as regular human beings, that's not realistic. So let's aim between pride and love. Those are realistic. But let's say if there's, a group of people in Africa partying and not knowing what's happening in Los Angeles, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. They can keep partying and having a great time within their group. This is more about the people that are aware of what's happening. Nobody is going to be joyful under these circumstances. So again, pride and love. So even if you would say, oh, well, pride is only 175, it doesn't matter, because we need all kinds of people at all kinds of levels. And we need people within pride and courage to be like, hey, I don't want this happening to my city. How dare, let's say. And courage, I'm going to go to the store, pick up as much, water as I can, food, whatever, and go give it out to the people that are stuck on the street. Let's say, hypothetically, is just an example. So as you can see, it's not because you're only at 175 and you're in pride that you're not going to contribute as much. No, you can. If your emotion leads you to action, pride and courage together are wonderful. That's pretty much, what we have right now on the people that are on the site fighting and helping. They're in extreme frequencies right now. So, neutrality. So, neutral, I wouldn't count on anybody watching this being neutral. Again, we're human beings, that's impossible. Either we have horrific people that are happy, yay, that this is happening to LA. Those are just horrible people. Or we have people that are really sad. I really, really doubt anyone's watching this being completely neutral about what's going on. Neutrality, in my opinion, would be, again, an example. You have a group of people in a different part of the world. Let's say Greece, right? Hypothetically. So you have a group of people in Greece. They have no idea what's happening right now in Los Angeles. They're going about their day as if nothing's happening. They're pretty much neutral to the situation. So again, I would say neutrality would fall into those types of categories. Then you have willingness, acceptance, and reason. Willingness, acceptance, and reason is the level where people come to realize that frustration isn't going to solve anything. Blaming, let's say, who could have been responsible, who set the thing on fire, who added to the fire. We can definitely pinpoint, because we're going to need a timeline where we're going to have to come up with, what happened and how did this go down and how could have we done a better job. So that's where, reason will kick in. Acceptance. We're accepting the situation. We're not liking it, but we're accepting it. And then when reason kicks in, we find solutions on how to prevent this from happening. How to focus our energy towards finding a solution. So you're holding space. That's the frequency of love. Love is holding space, sending positive vibe, praying, and loving them at a distance. And of course, what you can do as well is add love within your life. Be more loving towards, let's say, your parents or whoever you're interacting that day with. Be more loving in your surrounding. So like that, you can help raise the vibration. Be more loving to the people around the area of where this is happening, because they're right on the sideline. And like I said yesterday, a lot of people were shooken up. So pay, extra tip. Give them a compliment. Let them know that you also feel the pain and you're going through the same thing, so that they see they're not alone. A lot of people were shaken up yesterday because they're seeing the thing go on fire and they still have to work, right? Is it going to come this way? I don't know. I got to work. My break's not in the next 5 hours, So you understand, it's like, what should I do? Should I run or should I stay? And so it's time to be more compassionate towards each other and to show that love. If you see them, say something, do something, help them out in however way you can. And that's how we're going to bring more love into it. So physically, if you can, if you're in the area, and if you can't physically, send love through meditation, through prayers, and positive thinking. So this is pretty much just focusing your attention towards where we should focus on. So not again on pointing fingers, blaming, whatever. Again, we have to go through that to see who is at fault and to never, have this happen again. But to pretty much take the energy and focus it on the solution. Because what happened. We can't change that. However, what we can change is how we react to it. How do we deal with the solution and how fast do we implement the solution? And this is saying to the people that are, again, on the sideline. I'm not talking about, find a solution to the ones where their house is burning. That's not time to find a solution yet. It's more time to mourn and, you know, go through the sadness and through the loss. The solution is for the people in the sideline, the people working for the cities, the people saying, you know what, we could have checked those fire hydrants and inspect them. I worked for the city. These fire hydrants all have registration numbers, and each of them should have been logged, and each of them should have been inspected. And these things should be inspected. In Montreal, we inspect them twice a year, but only because we need them a lot because of the extreme conditions, the weather conditions. But let's say California and Los Angeles should have done this once a year. So you have all the registration number of all the fire hydrant, you inspect them, the ones that are broken or have anomalies, you fix them, and then you log everything. Once you log everything, you send a copy of that information to all the firefighters in the area that are responsible. So like that, they already know which fire hydrant works and which ones don't. Because not all of them are going to work. But you need this log. You need every 100 meters in Montreal, it's every 100 meters, you need a fire hydrant to work. So you can have a few of them, but as long as one every 100 meters work. So I don't know what the standard for Los Angeles is, but there is a standard. It's based on the capacity in the housing. So there is a standard. You look at that standard and you make sure that standard is upkept. But this is the problem. Budget goes from above and trickles down, right? So there's a lot of corruptions in the middle, and then there are people on the bottom not doing what they're supposed to do, which is inspect the fire hydrants. But again, we need management to tell us that. No one's just gonna, hey, let me go check the fire hydrants today to make sure they all work. No, no, no. You need an inspection. You need, just like an audit every year for your financials, you also need an audit for fire hydrants, That this should have been done by the governor, by the mayor. It doesn't matter whose fault it is at this point. At this point, we shouldn't support the leaders that can't do their jobs. And we should, be responsible. We should be the ones, citizens, saying, we don't want this happening. Leaders are not responsible, and therefore, we would like the fire hydrants to be inspected from bottom up. Unfortunately, if this is how it has to be, this is how it has to be, because it's the people on the floor that see the problem. And this is the disconnect between management and the blue-collared workers. There's such a huge gap between management and blue-collared workers that are on the floor that the information gets lost. So it's really important to be hands-on and to ask the people that are actually on the floor, hey, what can we do to make your job easier? Because the easier their job is, the better the flow. The harder the people's job is on the floor, the more difficult the flow. So you make it easy for them, they make it easy for the customers are happy, and then the sales coming in. So again, it's really important to get feedback directly from the cashiers, from the people mopping the floor, from the hostess, the people, the bartenders, the bodyguards, the security guards. The people that are actually on the floor are the ones that know what is needed. And management should implement those in order to oversee everyone and make sure everyone's okay and happy. So as you can see, it's a group effort. Management can't do it without the people on the floor, and the people on the floor can't do it without the guidance of management. And trust me when I tell you, we can rebuild. Because during the situation that happened in 2020, I can guarantee you downtown Los Angeles doubled. Buildings were popping up like popcorn, and nobody's going to work. No one's going in the offices anymore. So how come in the 20 years or in the 15 years that I've been here, how come I never saw such a growth? Except for the last 4 years when no one's going downtown. Those are foreign investors coming in and investing. Because the buildings are empty. It makes no sense. So you can pop buildings like popcorn. You can rebuild the city. Absolutely. And we can do it really fast. We have all the equipment, the technology. It's incredible. High rises super fast. You can do plazas, horizontal plazas, really fast as well. So again, we can rebuild. However, this time we have to rebuild better. We have to have protocols and procedures in place and inspectors inspecting them. And by rebuilding, we get closer to each other. So the internet has disconnected us physically. however, has connected us worldwide digitally, which is a great thing. So as you can see, we have a world of duality. We need the darkness for the light, right? In order to evolve. And it's really sad to say it this way, but unfortunately, this is the evolution of mankind. We need the darkness for the light. So same thing as what happened in Iran, just as a sideline. In Iran, a few years ago, the girls were fed up and they were, opening their hair and going free with their hair. And as a consequence, they were getting killed and murdered in front of everybody to show the example. So what happened? The men, they stood up. They said, you know what? We're not going to let this happen to our women. However, the men before that revolution, they were against each other because Iran is filled with subcultures. You have Turkish people, you have Armenians in there, you have Kurdish people, you have Arabs, you have Indian, you have all kinds. So these subcultures, they weren't really accepting each other. God, I was here first. I was here first. All the wars has done this to the people. It has separated their land. So now we all live under one, country, but we don't like each other because we're all there by force, right? After that revolution, I saw firsthand all the men were holding hands. They were all best friends. They were all like, you know what? We have to unite. If it's us against the government, we can't fight against each other. We have to unite and, get rid of our differences. It's okay. You're Armenian, I'm Turkish. We have bad history, I get it. But now it's the future. It's all about the future. So now we all hold hands and we become unity. Same thing with us. Los Angeles is burning. Let's all become one so we can lift each other up. And this is a pattern, as you can see, a spiral going up and up, starting from the dark ages. It used to be even worse before. So now we have more and more empathy, more and more compassion. And then with time, that pattern's going to disappear. One day, we're not going to have war anymore. We're going to be so fed up, We're going to see so much darkness. We're going to be like, you know what? It's enough. We just want light moving forward. And that's where the pattern's going to end. The war is going to end. However, unfortunately, we're not there yet. We're going towards that. So we have to be prepared. There's going to be more tragedies. There's going to be more events and natural disasters happening until that pattern is over. However, it's going to happen less and less until we're fed up. So again, in the world of duality, we need both the darkness and the light in order to evolve, in order to want to, hug everybody and be like, you know what, humanity now is tired. Now it's not just me, it's not just my culture, humanity is tired. And that's where we're going to be able to keep lifting each other up through frequencies, through energies, through our intention, which leads to action. And once our actions are based out of good intention, then our actions become positive. So again, we're not controlling people's actions. We're not controlling them per se. We're just saying, take your frequency and change the radio station. Go from frustration to maybe pride if you can, maybe courage if you can, all the way to love if you can, right? It's your gauge. Gauge it to where you want it to gauge it. And that helps control your emotions. So I hope this video helped. I know everyone's mood is down, but again, let's appreciate what we do have. Let's be grateful for what we do have. And let's send love and peace and a quick rebuild. And for whoever that's in the area, help as much as you can. Be friendly to your neighbor as much as you can. Offer them some sugar today. Offer them some dessert. Offer them whatever you can, just so we can add to the positive frequency of the world. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.